Welcome everyone back to the Badger Rock Virtual Garden Series, Virtual Garden Workshop Series. Today our topic is trellising. Trellising is just building up structures so that our plants that need to climb or have a tendency to climb so they can produce better fruit or better vegetables, whatever it may be. It just gives them a better opportunity. Also gives us more space in the garden, as well as makes it easier for when it comes time to harvesting. So first example I'm going to talk about for trellising is we have our cattle panels over here. These are made of galvanized steel in like a grid system. They're usually about, I'd say maybe 20 feet long or so. A lot of times you can find these at like Farm and Fleet, different kind of farm hardware stores, as well as if maybe you have like a farming friend or someone you know in the farming industry. A lot of times they'll have these kind of just laying around, or maybe have some extras. Very windy out here. But you can find these anywhere. Relatively cheap for how well they work. Again, these are metal, so they'll last a long time. Galvanized steel, so weatherproof, very good in the long run. But for these especially, we have these ones set up in where we're going to be planting our peas this year. So we already have a trench dug. We're going to be planting some more peas in here. But I believe these are snow peas?
Sugar snap peas.
Sugar snap peas. So for these ones, they'll tend to just grow, and they'll start to have their tendrils, they'll start to wrap around. And once they start clinging onto this, they can start growing upwards, growing straight up. And then it provides us more space in the garden, like I said, but also when it comes to harvesting, it's a lot easier just harvesting up here instead of having to bend down on the garden beds to actually get your harvest.
Yeah.
So this is our first example of our trellising.
Another tip on cattle panels, if you can find some damaged ones, Farm and Fleet and other places that sell them will sometimes give them to you for a discount. So.
And just for setting them up, all we have is just some garden stakes or garden poles, T-poles, however you say them. Just get a post pounder, getting them in the ground. And then we also have some hose clamps that you can use. But if you don't have hose clamps, you can also just use zip ties as well. Just tighten them really well. And yeah, just a good way to hold them up, keeps them in place, and then you got a perfectly good trellis that'll last for quite a while. So we'll move on. We have another example of how to use our cattle panels as well. Come over here. So over here we have one of our archways that we made. Again, we just got posts in the ground, pound them into the ground, more hose clamps to hold them together. And then as you can see, these cattle panels bend really easily and really smoothly too. So they just make a nice archway. So you can plant seeds over here. Maybe you might plant like squash so that they can climb, or squash, pumpkins, or melons. Again, so they'll climb up all the way across the archway. Even provides a little bit of shade once it's fully engulfed. And then again, it's a little bit easier of harvest. It gives a lot more airflow to the plants as well as the fruit. Keeps them in better shape. And again, it's just a good space saver as well. Big thing there.
And on this one right now, we have a climbing rose that we grow for beauty and for rose hips in the fall. You can use for tea.
Very pretty, very beautiful. So we'll take a look over here. We got a couple more examples. So we'll stick with the metal option first. So this is another option we have for trellising. You've maybe seen like the tomato trellising cages in the stores you can buy. They're kind of in like a cone shape a lot of times. This is basically a bigger version of that we made out of just some metal fencing. And then we just take wire snips, cut out sections of it, make it into a cylinder form, and then just kind of bend the edges that we clipped out around so they can stay secure. So these ones we just bend around. They come out pretty easily. Secure them back. And then for the bottoms, we would just clip out these middle sections right here. And so then we get some longer stake-like parts. And so these will actually be able to stick into the ground. So then your your trellis can be more secure, stays upright, and a little bit better because it's much bigger than the usual ones you'd find in the store. And those are a lot more expensive than just trying to get a big roll of metal fencing, make your own with these ones. So in just a second, we'll take a look at these in action, but I just wanted to show you guys another option. If you didn't want to get metal, we also have some plastic grid netting. Again, this is kind of the similar form as the galvanized steel ones, kind of a grid pattern. But this one you can wrap either, again, on poles, stakes in the ground. If you have maybe like a little a tent-like structure, you can wrap that around it. Great for growing beans, maybe more lighter climbing plants. So that'd be like beans,
Peas, I would say, probably.
peas.
Yep.
Primarily those ones. But yeah, this is a great option. Again, just kind of a lighter sense, and just another option besides the metal ones. But now going back to our metal ones, we'll take a look at what they look like in action in our hoop house. So in our hoop house here, we have a bunch of sugar snap peas growing, as well as a bunch of spinach growing around the outsides as well. But as you can see, even this little tendril right here is starting to wrap around. And that's what we want, because then it'll be more upright and it'll just keep growing straight up as well. And again, just provides more airflow, makes it easier for harvesting. And yeah, it'll produce more when it has all those tendencies.
And a really cool kind of succession planting thing, which means planting things by time in the garden to maximize your space. If you plant your peas to climb this trellis and you plant a tomato in the middle, by the time the peas have climbed the whole trellis and are done around the middle of July, your tomato will fill the space. So it could be your pea trellis and your tomato cage.
And your tomato lettuce. 2 in 1. Yeah. A good way. So this is our options for here. We also have some more options for cattle panels, which are an A-frame ones, which are right here.
I think so. If we can't find them, we can always describe them.
Yep.
Look at these collard greens going to flower too. These are next season seeds getting ready, y'all.
And then another easy option. Again, it doesn't have, or your trellising doesn't have to be metal, it doesn't have to be plastic. It could just be sticks, anything long and supportive that can fit in the ground. It could just be one stick going straight up, and just have maybe one squash plant rolling up it. It's another option. But another option as well is you can make a little tent-like structure. Should be just simple enough. Just like that. Obviously you can add more poles, bigger poles as well. Another option, just like the plastic netting we were just looking at before, that'd be another good one to wrap around here, maximize like where they'd be able to grab and everything. But yeah, that's most of our forms of trellising that we have in our garden here. Again, there's many other ways you can do it, other materials you can use. You can just use wood, sticks, make your own poles, garden stakes, metal stakes, whatever it may be. And yeah, we just want them to have our maximum amount of production. So this really helps out for that and makes it easier on us for harvesting and a lot of things that just make it a lot more simpler for us.
This little tent style is also really fun when it gets covered in vines for kids to go inside and have a place to hang out in the shade in the summertime. So Forrest, just before we wrap it up, can you just name some of the crops that do like to climb so that people know what to build trellises for before they get their seeds in the ground?
Perfect. So a lot of them we like to trellis are maybe squash, pumpkins, also melons. There's cucumbers. Cucumbers love to climb as well. And then pretty much all peas, mostly pole beans. Obviously bush beans are just going to be mostly like the dry beans on the floor. So mostly pole beans, sugar snap peas. Is there any other I was missing?
Those are the main ones I can think of. Yeah.
Then you could always trellis like tomatoes and peppers, ones that like to get really heavy fruit. So those would be good to trellis just so that they can stay upright, they don't fall to the ground. Again, that's all your personal preference. If you don't mind your tomatoes on the ground or your peppers on the ground either, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But that's just another option for trellising as well.
Yeah. You will be donating a little bit of that fruit to the raccoons if you
Of course. Yep.
Well, thank you, Forrest. Y'all get your trellises in. This is the time before you get your plants in to get all the infrastructure set up along behind so that you aren't scrambling to stuff a tomato in its cage when it's full grown, things like that. So thank you, Forrest. And if y'all have other ideas for ways that you like to trellis, please pop them in the comments and let us know. Share with each other. We're all teachers and we're all learners here at Badger Rock and Rooted.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Awesome.
We'll see y'all next time.